In today's episode, I'm going to recap for you what occurred on day 4 and day 5 of the Dustin Duren Amber Alert trial. And you're not going to want to miss a minute of it because his story's going to change just a little bit. Remember I said we're not really fitting into the defense, what he said during his interrogation. Well, he changes it up because now he's going to take the stand on day 4 and 5. And we're going to hear a few additional details that didn't come in during the interrogation. I can't talk. Interrogation. Yes. Watch this intro. We'll get right into it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's an exciting day, and I'll tell you why. Because, one, this diamond painting will be done by the time I have my live tonight, which is going to be a women chat over on a collaboration with Color and Chat with Joanna. So look for that. The other thing I'm excited about is the blanket, the crochet blanket. I finished it. So you're going to see 2 finishes tonight. Yes, I've already started a new blanket. Of course I did. Someone sent me a pattern that I really, really love, and I totally forgot they sent me this pattern. And I knew I had this yarn that I wanted to do something with, and this is not why you came here to hear this story. But anyway, I started a new blanket. I just love crafting, but I also love crime. So let's talk about the Dustin Duren case. Yes, I know it's over, but I want to complete the playlist. I want you guys to finish enjoying the rest of the trial, how we got where we got. And I'm not going to tell you where we're going to get because we still have another episode to go. But this episode is going to be really, really interesting because, did I ask you to hit that thumbs up button yet? If you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button, please, it does help the algorithm. I'm going to look up hype. I have opted in. I've looked up their settings. I'm there. I don't know why people can't find it, but I'm going to figure that out. I'll let you know tonight. We're going to do like a whole tutorial tonight on the hype button. And subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get right into Dustin Duren. 35-year-old Dustin Duren on trial, second-degree murder of his longtime live-in girlfriend, Caitlyn Naffziger, who was 31 years old at the time of the shooting. He admits that he shot her in the head with his 9mm a service I can't talk. A service revolver that his father, who had been a Marine and a cop, gave to him when he retired. So here we go. And there was not one in the chamber. Let me just say this. There was not a bullet in the chamber. In order for him to shoot Caitlyn, he had to, what do you call that? Rack one. He had to rack it to get one to go into the chamber. And that makes a noise. And that tells me, oh shit, she knew what was coming. Like, she's like, oh no, here we go. Such a sad story. But anyway, what I have for you today is it's about 50 minutes in length. This was the meat, the heart of him taking the stand. On day 4, Dustin Duren, he takes the stand. His defense is he felt like his daughter, Elowen, was in danger. That Caitlyn was she was in immediate danger of being kidnapped by Caitlyn. Now, when you listen to this version of what he says happened, listen to the differences between that and the interrogation. I'm going to tell you what those are. But before we even get there, okay, so he starts out on day 4 with, I was a Marine. He got into the Marines right out of high school, got right into the Marines, was in there for many, many years, got out with depression and anxiety, like severe. He attempted suicide. He had to be hospitalized. He went to live with his parents. And this is when he meets Caitlyn in Minnesota. They meet up in Minnesota. They hit it off. They move to Nevada. So he goes through this whole thing, the same thing he did during the police interrogation. His attorney would ask him a question and he would just go to town. Talk, 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 talk. He likes to hear himself talk. But listen to what he's not telling you. He is not telling you. He tells this whole story about how this one time this burglar broke into his home and he got the 9mm out and he even opened the door, showed the guy the weapon. Look, I have a weapon. And he admits on cross-examination he didn't afford Caitlyn that same courtesy when he thought, you know, his daughter was in danger of being kidnapped. He didn't take the weapon and go, "Hey, I got a weapon, you better leave." No. They go over the fact that as a Marine, he's trained you don't get a weapon out unless you intend to shoot someone. You are not pointing it at them unless you intend to shoot them. So then he goes through his whole background, their whole relationship, their ons, their offs, how she kidnaps. All of a sudden, we're using the term kidnap because that's the statutory term you have to have in order for this to be an excusable homicide, that you were in fear that this person was in danger of their life or liberty, which is kidnapping. In any case, so this 5'0" nothing woman versus this 5'10", 190-pound man who's wrapped in a dinosaur blanket, a whoopee, sitting on the couch with her feet up on the coffee table with her arm wrapped around her daughter. He is trying to convince a jury that this person was in the middle of kidnapping Elowen. She was going to kidnap Elowen if he didn't grab that gun right then and shoot her. Now, remember, when you're listening to this, what did he say in the interrogation? They had been arguing back and forth all day long, and he maintains this. He's very consistent with his story, arguing back and forth all day long, all day long. Are you leaving? You're not leaving? How are you leaving? Finally, he cracks. He's like, "You're leaving." He said she crossed the line. She wouldn't let go of Elowen. So he's like, "I'm driving you back to your Aunt Brenda's house in whatever town. I'm just going to take you right now." So he gets the other one in the car seat. Now she's like, "Nope, I'm not leaving. I've got Elowen in this bear hug," and she is not letting go. And so they're tussling over this child. This poor kid's going to need therapy for the next 20 years to get over this. So her parents are tussling over her, and he said it in the interrogation, and that was much closer in time to the actual events. So that's what I'm going to. That, as a juror, I'm gravitating to that statement that he said, "I snapped. I snapped." He grabbed the gun. He got Elowen out of the way, backed up, shot her in the head, and then got out of there. So in day 4's testimony, he gets all the way up into the story until she comes, because now in the story, she has kidnapped Balin while they were in Nevada, planning to move to New Hampshire. She kidnaps Balin and takes Balin to Minnesota. So now he's been in negotiations. He goes forward with their plan to go to New Hampshire. He takes Elowen. They go to New Hampshire. So now he and Elowen are living in New Hampshire. Balin and Caitlyn are living in Minnesota. So negotiation. I want more money. I need a tax write-off. I blah, 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 blah. And his refrain was, well, bring me Caitlyn, bring me Caitlyn. So finally he agrees. She agrees. I'll bring you Caitlyn if I can have the tax write-ups. Okay. Do you need a place to stay? No, I don't need a place to stay. So she's bringing Caitlyn. She ends up flying in on his dime. He pays for the airline ticket, pays for her transfer, gives her cash for transportation. She comes into her aunt's house, and her aunt drives her to this restaurant where they're all at. Now, she's at the restaurant. He knows she just got dropped off, so she doesn't have a car. And she's speaking to the kids. Oh, don't you want to show mommy your house? So, of course, he's got to take her to the house now. So that's where they leave off on day 4. So that's where we're going to pick up the testimony on day 5. Is he's at this house, they're at the house now. They've come home. They've spent the first night at the house. He said he didn't really want to mess with her that night. Want to give them time to visit. He sets up the bedding. Everybody sleeps their separate ways. They get up the next morning. They go to the public library because something was going on. And that's where we're picking up here. And follow this through the end, because nobody can explain it better. I mean, I can recap it for you, but he's very well spoken. He's very sure of himself. He shows no emotion. He shows no remorse. But now we're adding in the word kidnapping, which was never mentioned during the interrogation. This kidnapping defense doesn't come up until the trial. Nobody had heard this defense until he took the stand. And now, because that's not the story I've been telling you guys, because that's not what we heard in opening statements. It's not what we heard in the interrogation. Now we're hearing, oh, I was in fear that she was going to be kidnapped by Caitlyn. All right, let me know what you think. Watch this video. Leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Raised their hands. Thank you very much for adhering to my instructions, following my instructions. And with that, we'll proceed. Attorney Kettles? And Mr. Duren, you're still under oath, sir. Yes.
Dustin, where we left off yesterday, you had just returned from the library and eaten lunch. Can you tell me what happened after lunch?
So this was at the house. Caitlyn, Elowen, and Valen were all playing in the girls' room. And at that point, I'm just kind of working on things, kind of getting stuff set up for the weekend and the following week. And then every so often, I would go to the room just to ask, hey, what's going on? Is Brenda picking you up here? Are we meeting her somewhere? Just what's the plan? What is going on?
What did Caitlyn say in response?
She was not responding. She was completely ignoring me. Just kept playing with the girls. So about every 15, maybe it was a half an hour, maybe every 15 minutes, a half an hour, I would come back and ask again, hey, what's going on? What is the plan? And she just kept ignoring me.
What did you think when she kept ignoring you?
So I don't know what's going on. So with backing up to what was happening prior to, again, she was saying that she didn't want to stay at the house, which is fine. But then all of a sudden Brenda isn't coming with us to the restaurant. She's not staying there. She wanted to come back to the house all of a sudden. I'm confused about what is going on. There's a lot going through my head. And one of the things that's in the back of my head which is why I'm bringing up these stories in the first place, is that the last time she was ignoring me and not telling me what was going on was when she stole Valen out of Nevada.
At some point, did you tell Caitlyn that she couldn't stay in your apartment anymore?
Yes, so this is when I'm continually asking her about what's going on. I'm saying, hey, I said that you could stay the night, but you can't stay longer. So what is the plan? You can't stay here. What is the plan? Like, if I need to drive you all the way back to Hampton, fine, but I need to know what is going on.
What was the next thing that she did besides just ignoring you and playing with the girls?
So eventually, at this point, it was getting dark. And eventually, as I'm saying this, she finally gets up. She still hasn't said anything, but she finally gets up and goes to the couch in the living room. And she's on her phone. I don't know what she's doing. It looks like she's texting. So I'm thinking, okay, progress is being made. Like, okay, I'm assuming she's texting Brenda. Okay, she's figuring something out. Good, we're making progress here.
Did you ask her again what the plan was?
So after, again, I don't know how long this would have been, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But again, she wasn't saying anything. So I'm asking again, are you talking with Brenda? Like, what's going on? What's the plan? And she's still not saying anything. So at this point, like, I'm obviously pretty frustrated. At this point, I'm just saying, okay, you know what? You're not responding. We're clearly not getting anywhere here. So then I'm making the decision that then I'll drive you all the way back to Hampton. I'll drive you the 3 hours or whatever it is, all the way back there. But we need to leave now. You can't be here any longer. We need to leave now.
And what was going through your head at this point that you're telling her we need to leave now?
So again, I don't know what's going on. And again, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh, the last time that she wasn't communicating with me was in Nevada with Valen. And I don't know who she's texting. She's sitting on her phone. I don't know who she's texting. If, like, did people come to New Hampshire with her? I don't know. Was she texting other people to, like, come to the house and that's why she didn't want to leave? Like, I didn't know what was going on. I wanted her out of the house. I did not know the situation. I did not know what was going on, but something was happening. Something was seriously wrong. I wanted to get out of the house.
And what did you do next?
So at this point, this is when I get Valen and I start putting her in the car seat. And so I'm putting her in the car seat in front of the kitchen, sort of at the doorway in front of the kitchen, also in front of the doorway to the bathroom, and it's in the hallway that leads outside to the garage. So I'm putting her in the car seat. At this point, Elowen she's still kind of playing in the room and going back and forth and seeing what we're doing. So at this point, she's out like, okay, we're going somewhere. So she comes out and she's standing behind me in the kitchen. And this is when Caitlyn gets up from the couch, grabs Elowen, and then takes her back to the couch.
When she takes her back to the couch, how were the two of them seated?
So, yeah, after I finish buckling in Valen, then I go into the living room and I see, so Elowen's sort of straddling Caitlyn's right leg. She's facing me, so like Elowen's legs are on the outside of Caitlyn's right leg. And then she's facing out towards me, and at this point, just Caitlyn has one arm around Elowen, like around her chest.
And what did you do when you saw Caitlyn holding Elowen from behind?
So I just started saying, hey, what are you doing? We need to go. And at this point, this is really to where the first time she said anything in which she just said, no, I'm not leaving.
What did you do when she said, no, I'm not leaving?
So again, I start saying, no, we need to leave. We need to go. And at this point, I go up and I try to grab Elowen. And what ends up happening is she pulls back on Elowen and sort of yanks her out of my reach, like away from me. So she yanks her back, and I immediately step back, going, whoa, 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 what is going on? What are you doing? Let Elowen go.
And so Caitlyn yanks Elowen back. How is she holding Elowen at this point?
So at this point, just again this was with, I guess probably one arm at this point, but holding her across the chest and then like yanking her backwards.
And you said you let go. Why did you let go?
Because I couldn't hurt Elowen. I didn't want her to be hurt.
And what did you do next after you let go?
So I'm really trying to ask, like, what is going on now? Like something is seriously wrong. What is going on? And this is where she first starts really talking, and where now she's making these demands for just a substantial amount of money that there's no way that I could pay her. And I'm telling her this, like, I can't get you this kind of money. Like, I don't have this kind of money. I'm paying you what I can. I'm sending you what I can. I can't pay this. And then at this point, this is where she's saying, or now threatening, that then, oh, if I can't pay her, then she's going to say that I kidnapped Elowen from Minnesota without her permission, and that she was going to call the cops and have me arrested, and that then I would never see the kids again.
And just to be clear, had you kidnapped Elowen from Minnesota without Caitlyn's permission?
No.
And what are you thinking at this point that you're hearing these threats?
So at this point, I think the best way to describe this, I think, is in like a Marine Corps color code system. So it's like a situational awareness, like an internal radar system, but to where just naturally, just a normal person would just be in white. Like their radar is off. They're not, like you're walking into a restaurant and you're not concerned with, like you're not thinking about threats. You're thinking about like what's there to eat. But I think combat vets, probably police officers, I think can say the same thing, that they're probably going into a restaurant and they're just kind of aware of maybe suspicious people or suspicious things that are around, or they want to sit in a corner booth or with their backs against the wall so that they can visually see things. So that's just a natural yellow, like your radar's on a natural yellow.
And what is your radar on most of the time?
Yellow. So I'm constantly on yellow.
And at this point, as Caitlyn is making these threats, what does your internal radar do?
So now at this point, I'm in orange,
What is
which
orange?
is, so I'm now seeing a potential threat. I'm seeing my child being restrained to where I can't get to her. I'm thinking of all the suspicious stuff that has been happening about how there's some sort of plan going on, but I don't know about what's happening. And now and with these threats now and her not leaving, like something is seriously wrong, something is seriously happening. And with her now holding Elowen hostage and making these demands, my radar's on, it's on orange, I'm seeing a potential threat, and now I'm observing what else is going on. So at this point, this is where I'm thinking, okay, weapons. Okay, my desk, or my gun is on my desk next to the couch. I'm thinking of the knives that are behind me. I'm thinking of the doorways, like the front door is behind me. I'm thinking, is it locked? I think it is. The front door, or the door that's in front of me is the back door towards the garage. I'm thinking, okay, that door I think is unlocked. I'm conscious of, oh, she's been sitting on her phone. Is she texting someone? Are people coming to the house? Because I don't know what's going on. She's on her phone. Is people coming to the house? And that's why she doesn't want to leave. So now I'm thinking, I'm conscious of like the windows. Are there lights? shining in the windows? Like, is someone pulling up? Are there car doors shutting? Are there people talking outside? I'm just listening for all this stuff. It's just this heightened sense, this situational awareness, where I'm just in a heightened state trying to figure out just everything that's going on.
And what do you do while you're in this heightened state? What do you ask Caitlyn?
So I'm now, again, I'm just trying to say, hey, just let Elowen go. Like, what, really just let Elowen go, and trying to figure out like what is going on. And again, she's just talking about these, like how she wants money, and oh, if I can't pay her this money, then I need to sell my car and give her the money from my car. And again, I'm trying to explain, like, I can't do this. I'm sending her what I can't send her this money. And then she just continually threats that, okay, then you're never going to see the girls again.
She tells you you're never going to see the girls again?
Yes.
And what was she doing while she was telling you she's going to take your girls and you'll never see them again?
She's holding Elowen hostage in front of me, using her as leverage to try to get what she wanted.
What are your daughters doing at this point?
So Elowen's crying, and this is why I'm saying, like, Elowen, like, she's smart. She knows when something wrong is happening. So she's crying already. Vaylin's crying. She's in the hallway, and I can't specifically see her. Like, at this point too, I can't take my eyes off of Elowen or Caitlyn. And like, I don't even want to go into the kitchen to check on Vaylin. Like, I can't just take my eyes off of them. This potential threat, I can't go over there and check on Vaylin. So that's stressing me out too, of Vaylin crying in the hallway. It just, yeah, it's just adding to the stress.
So what do you do?
So at this point, I'm saying again, just let Elowen go. And I try to grab Elowen again. And at this point, again, now I'm trying harder to get her. I immediately run out the door and run to my car. And again, if I wasn't doing that, then I was never going to see the girls again.
And what was Caitlyn doing? You've said what she was saying, but how is she holding Elowen at this point?
So she's still got her at this point, still one arm, like maybe, maybe the other arm is like on her hand or something. Like, this isn't full bear hug. This is like one arm around her chest, but yes.
And what is going through your mind?
So I'm trying to figure out what to do. Just with everything that's going on, I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I get Elowen out of this situation? And I'm just pleading, like, please just let Elowen go. Just please let her go. And at this point, she's not responding. And to her phone, I'm noticing to her phone, because her phone was sitting down on the couch at this point, but it was on the couch and it was flashing, like white flashes, like she's getting texts or something like that. So again, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. All I'm thinking of is I need to get Elowen out of this situation, just getting out of here.
And you had said earlier that what was going through your mind was that Caitlyn had kidnapped Valen before.
Yes.
Overruled.
What's different this time?
I mean, the big difference is because she's literally holding Elwyn hostage in front of me. She's using her as leverage to try and get what she wants.
And what are you saying at this point?
Again, I'm just pleading for her to just let Elwyn go. And yeah, she's just not, at this point, she's just not responding to me anymore.
What do you do next?
So this is when I try to make this final attempt to get Elwyn. So my thought is, okay, I'll try to grab like Caitlyn's wrist that's across Elwyn. I'll try to grab her wrist. I'll try to get behind Elwyn's back to pull her away, to like simultaneously pull her arm and pull her away. So when I attempt this, when I try to do this, then that's when Caitlyn goes full bear hug. She's then squeezing Elwyn harder. She's yanking her away, like twisting her body and yanking her away from me. And two, she's putting her right foot up on the table. So her knee is up, and so Elwyn, being straddled on her leg, she puts her knee up, braces it on the table, and is also using her leg to pull Elwyn back away from me. And just the big thing that happened here is Elwyn screaming, Elwyn yelling. And that was the point to where, again, I let go after Elwyn's scream. And I'm locking eyes with Elwyn, and she's crying. She just let out this scream, and this is where, when I'm talking about the line was crossed, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Elwyn now physically being hurt in front of me. And that was the line.
And what's going through your mind at this point when you've locked eyes with Elwyn and you can see that she's been hurt?
So then this is probably the best way to describe this, again, is through this system, this color system, to where now I'm going from orange to red, to where I see an immediate danger. I'm seeing an immediate threat to Elwyn, and I have to take action immediately to save Elwyn. And that's really what's going through my head. The single thing of, I have to get Elwyn out of this situation immediately.
What do you do?
So this is where I'm talking about, to where I say it's like, it was like muscle memory. It was like training coming out, to where I didn't have to think about what was happening. It was like, I was trained for this, and this is what I'm supposed to do. But I take then, and this is also, again, this is, like I said, it was really, really fast. The entire thing probably took like 3 to 5 seconds max. I take the 2 steps over, grab the gun. As I'm taking probably the 3 steps back over, I'm chambering around into the gun. I grab Elwyn by the shirt collar, the front of her shirt collar. I pull her forward, not to me. I pull her forward to get some sort of distance between her and Caitlyn, pull her forward, and then fire.
Is Elwyn still in Caitlyn's arms when you shoot?
Yes.
What happens after you fire?
So immediately after I shoot, so I'm holding Elwyn by the collar. She's, again, Caitlyn is still bear hugging Elwyn at this point, but the moment I shoot, that's when Caitlyn releases. I pull Elwyn fully into me, And I immediately run out the door and run to my car.
After you run to your car, what do you do?
So once I'm in the car, this is when, again, the very first thing I'm thinking of is I need to make sure that Ellen is okay. So we sit down in the car and I'm just checking her over, like physically, to make sure that there is nothing wrong with her, that there's no physical injuries wrong with her. I'm like checking through her hair to make sure that there's just nothing wrong. And there wasn't, but all she's complaining about is she's covering her ears and saying loud, loud. But she's still responding to me. I know she can still hear me, but she's just complaining that it was loud. And as I'm checking her over, I'm not seeing anything physically wrong with her. There's also nothing on her. So I'm making sure that she was okay, and she was physically okay.
Once you make sure that Ellen is physically okay, what happens next?
So at this point, this is when I said this, to where this is when I realized what had happened, to where, like, consciously I'm realizing this wasn't just someone that I shot. This was Caitlyn. This was someone that I cared about, who was important to me and my family and my kids. This wasn't just some random person. And I immediately felt horrible. And I didn't understand what was going on. Like, why was this happening? What just happened? Why was this happening? I didn't understand it. So at this point, I'm just trying to figure out what am I supposed to do? I didn't know what I was supposed to do at this point. I'm not thinking like, yeah, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm justified actually because of XYZ. I'm thinking, no, I just shot someone that is not just a random person. This was Caitlyn. I didn't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And this is again to when just sort of basic instinct is coming out, to where I'm thinking, well, I need to make sure that my kids are okay. So I'm thinking, okay, Ellen is physically okay, but I need to make sure that she's mentally okay too. I need to, because again, I don't know who she was texting, if people were coming to the house. I didn't know what was going on. I wanted to get out of the area, out of the immediate area first. And I wanted to spend time with the girls to make sure that they were mentally okay. So at this point, this is where I'm literally running into the house, just grabbing necessities. I'm like, okay, I'm just grabbing clothes. I'm grabbing blanket. I'm grabbing a pillow. I'm like grabbing like food, water. I'm just grabbing necessities to just bring back to the car. This all probably took maybe 5 minutes total, as I'm just running in the house and just grabbing things. I know, yeah, I grabbed my computer and my hard drive. I guess it was because, okay, my computer is my life outside of my kids. Like, this is where I do all my work. Like my hard drive, literally the only thing that's on my hard drive is all backups of my work. So I guess I'm just thinking like, oh, well, this is a necessity. I just have to grab it. So I just grab it. And as I put all this stuff in the car, then immediately take off after that probably took like 5 minutes.
Did you turn out the lights and deadbolt the door?
I mean, I guess I mean, I don't consciously remember doing it, but I guess it makes sense because that's just what I would normally do. Like, hey, I'm leaving the house, I'm turning off the lights, I'm locking the door. I mean, deadbolting the door, I don't even think I had the key to the actual doorknob. I think the only key I had was for the deadbolt. So I guess it was just something natural that I would do as I'm leaving the house, is just turn off the lights and lock the door.
And so, have you also put Valen in the car at this point?
Yeah, yes, yes, Valen's in the car as well, yes. If it's not obvious, she was the very first thing I went and got from the house, yes.
And what did you do next once you had packed up the car?
So at this point, I immediately got out of the immediate area. And Ellen and Valen, they both fell asleep pretty much immediately once I started driving. So I just kept going. I just kept driving. Eventually, I got to Concord and to where they're both awake at this point. And I wanted to, again, make sure that they were mentally okay. So I park, I think this was at like a CVS or a Walgreens or something. I park in a parking lot. And I sit down with them, I'm talking with them, I'm just making sure they're okay. I'm not talking about what just happened, I'm just asking if things are okay. And talking to Ellen specifically, I knew Valen was her same old happy self, so I wasn't worried about Valen, and she wasn't even in the room when this was going on. But Ellen, I'm talking to Ellen, and she seemed good. She kept saying like, I'm okay, Dad, I'm okay. And so at this point, now I'm thinking too, okay, well, I haven't received any texts from anyone. I don't know. Again, I don't know if people were coming to the house. I haven't heard anything. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if anyone knew what had happened. So I'm thinking I have to tell somebody. So at this point, I do three things. First I make a video just showing that we're all okay, that Ellen and Valen specifically, that they're happy and that they're okay. So I just record a video. I'm telling Ellen that I love her, and she's saying, I love you too, Dad, and I'm hugging her. And then Valen, I'm saying I love Valen, and Ellen says, oh, I love you too, Valen, and we're just hugging and just making a recording showing that we're okay and we're happy, and that we're okay. And then I send that to my parents. The second thing I do, because I was already thinking this before I had called my parents, but I was thinking again, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was the right thing to do in this moment. And I didn't understand what was even happening at this point. What had happened, like the why, the what, but anyways, so I'm thinking, okay, I still want to spend more time with the girls. I want to, again, just make sure that specifically Ellen is mentally okay. So I'm going on Google Maps, and I'm sort of planning a route west because I knew I was going to shut my phone off. So I'm planning a route southwest through New York, and I'm writing it down on a Post-it note, which the Post-it note that was still in the car, so you could literally see the route that I took. But I write it down on the Post-it note, and then 3, I call my parents.
Who do you speak to specifically?
So specifically, I call my mom, and I don't tell her anything specifically what happened. I just tell her that I shot Caitlyn, that the girls were okay, that I was going to go dark for a little bit, as in turn my phone off, specifically because I didn't want anyone to find us at that point. I wasn't trusting anyone else to make sure that my girls were okay in that moment. Like, I was the only one that could make sure that my girls were okay. So I didn't want to be found at that moment. So anyways, I'm telling my mom this, and I'm telling her, hey, you also need to call the cops to make sure that they know what happened. And that was the extent of the conversation. I didn't tell her anything more than that.
Which of your parents did you think would call the cops?
I mean, I guess I would assumed it would be my dad, and especially as a retired deputy. I mean, I assumed he would be the one to do it.
What did you do after you talked to your mom?
So at this point, this is where I did turn off my phone. And again, I just started driving southwest. So I drove kind of throughout the night, and made it somewhere into New York. To where it was specifically at a Love's gas station. And again, you could figure out where exactly I was from the Post-it note that I wrote down, like the directions on the Post-it note. You could find this gas station. But anyways, so I stopped there, I parked up. There was a gate or a fence in front of me, pulled up to that, and that was overlooking the freeway. Just pulled up to that, and then just the girls and I slept in the back seat and just slept for the night.
What did you do when you woke up?
So we woke up, everyone, again, Ellen seemed good. She just seemed like her happy self. I mean, we go into the gas station. I mean, we're using the restroom there. Where her interactions with Valen were all good, and everything seemed like she was acting normal, completely fine. We had breakfast there, and this is really at the point to where, because one of the things I was thinking of doing was to drive all the way back to Minnesota to get my kids to my parents, because no one knows my kids better than my parents. No one has been more involved with my kids than my parents. So they were my first thought of who could take care of them. So I was thinking of, okay, well, maybe I'll drive all the way back to Minnesota. But again, that seemed like a bad idea because just with the two girls, I mean, specifically with Valen too, being so young, it just didn't seem like a good idea. But to get back to it, Ellen specifically, again, she just seemed fine. She kept saying that, yeah, she's okay. And her interaction specifically with Valen, her interaction specifically with me, she seemed like her same old self. And this is really at the point to where I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to drive all the way back to Minnesota. I should probably turn myself in at some police station. And why I was thinking Concord specifically was because that's where I had originally called, and that was the last place my phone was, or where my phone was on. So that's just why I was thinking Concord. But anyways, so I started driving back. Took the same path back that I had originally driven. And then started thinking that, okay, now I want to get brunch with the girls. And it probably is fair to say that, yeah, I was probably delaying things. And that's probably fair to say that I probably was just delaying things, but I just thought, okay, I want to have brunch with them.
Before what?
Before turning myself in. So,
Did you have brunch with them before you turned yourself in?
no.
What happened?
So, as I'm driving through Keene, so I just entered New Hampshire and I'm driving through Keene and I'm looking at restaurants. And as I said before, I see the Applebee's. I'm not looking at anyone else. By the way, I never even knew that there was an Amber Alert. I didn't even think about that would happen. So I didn't know that this was anything other than just police were trying to find me. I didn't think about anything. So anyways, I'm not like looking around at other people. I'm just looking at the Applebee's. And I've never been to Keene before. I've not been to this Applebee's. So I'm just trying to figure out like how do I get into the Applebee's? So I'm like taking a left and then I'm like, okay, well now there's a median and I can't turn left into the Applebee's. So I'm like going around this roundabout and going back right. And I'm like taking a right. And I guess I turned into the convenient MD, I guess. But then obviously that's not the Applebee's. So I'm pulling in farther through it. And I pull up literally right in front of the door to the Applebee's.
And then what happens?
So I'm just looking at the hours sign. I'm trying to see the hours and it was closed. But I'm just trying to look out my window, just trying to see the hours. And that's when I noticed the police officer behind me. And I honestly, I can't remember if he had lights on. I don't remember that. He didn't have a siren on.
What did you do when you noticed the police officer?
So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, now even if he's just pulling me over just for some random thing, they're probably going to look up my plate and then see something like that this call was made or whatever. So at this point, I pull forward into a parking spot. And then I'm leaning back. Ellen and Valen were still asleep at this time. I'm leaning back, and again, I'm thinking like, man, I really just want to hug them. And so I'm leaning back. I'm unbuckling Valen, reaching back, unbuckling her seat, and I'm trying to wake them both up. Like, Ellen, Valen, hey, wake up, wake up. And they're both starting to wake up. But at this point, this is when I start hearing people outside, like the officers outside, yelling at me to whatever, get my hands on the steering wheel or put them on the window. So at this point, I didn't want to do anything further. Like, I'm gonna follow their commands. I didn't want anything to happen to Ellen and Valen. I want to make sure that everything was good. So I was fully cooperating.
And what did you tell them?
So immediately I'm just yelling like, hey, there's kids in the car, just making sure that they know there's kids in the car. Like, be mindful of your weapons. There is kids in the car.
And what else do you tell them?
So as I'm backing up, and as I'm backing up and they're putting me in handcuffs, then I'm yelling too about how there's a gun in the door. So
Why are you telling them there's a gun in the door?
because it's loaded, and specifically it's in condition 1, so there's a round in the chamber, and the only reason is just because I didn't actually clear it afterwards. I didn't like take the magazine out and like unchamber the round. I just left it, just put on safe, left it, or set it in the door, the driver door.
Why did you tell them that the gun was there?
But just to make sure that they knew that there was a gun in the door. Like, I don't want them, like, whatever, bumping it or like grabbing it accidentally or just something, whatever. Just trying to be safe and just letting them know where a weapon is in the car.
And then were you taken into custody?
So yes, and then that's when, yes, specifically I'm put in that one police cruiser. The detective did come up to me prior to in the doorway, and he didn't really say much. He was just asking if I was okay, and then just if I wanted anything, if I needed food or something.
So let's talk about what happened when you were interviewed by the police, or when you spoke to the police.
Yes.
Why did you decide to give up your right to remain silent and talk to the police?
And just, I felt like that was the right thing to do. I mean, I didn't have anything to hide. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm like, maybe I can talk this through, and like they'll help me try to figure out this out of what just happened. But I'm just trying to do the honorable thing, just trying to do the right thing.
How long after the incident did you speak to police?
So this was, I don't know how, like 15 hours? Like 15 hours later? So really short time. So, I mean, too, again, I'm clearly in shock too, because I don't know, like, again, I'm still trying to figure out like the what, the why, the how, like, what is going on. But yeah, anyways.
And tell us what's going through your head, what's kind of your emotional state while you're being interviewed?
So I'm not thinking of like, legally I'm justified, so this is completely fine. I'm thinking, no, I just killed someone, but not just someone. This wasn't just like a random person that was in the house. This was Caitlyn. This is the mother of my kids. This is like, I'm feeling just this incredible, really personal guilt of like, how did this happen? And there's this battle in my head of, I don't feel like I did something, like, I don't feel like this is my fault. Like, I didn't want this. Like, I didn't put this position together. Like, I wasn't the one who brought this all together. I'm not the one who was like holding Elwyn hostage in front of me. I'm not the one that like was trying to plan all this stuff. Like, but at the same time, I still fired the shot. So I didn't know. I felt this really big, just personal guilt.
In your police interview, you told police it was definitely very fast and deliberate. And then a moment later, you said it was very, very fast, very deliberate. What did you mean when you said it was fast and deliberate?
So again, with the fast, again, this, like I said, the entire process maybe took 3 seconds, like maximum 5 seconds. So again, incredibly fast. But two, I'm speaking about the physical action. I'm not talking about any sort of mental state. I'm talking about the physical action. But what I mean is like how meticulous it was, like how perfectly performed it was, to where, and especially with how fast it was, for everything to happen within 3 to 5 seconds, like those 2 steps, grabbing it, chambering it, the 3 steps back at the same time, the grabbing Elwyn, the firing, it was so fast and so meticulously performed. That's what I was trying to express.
So like the physical action was deliberate?
The physical action, yes.
All right, you also told the police, it doesn't matter if she was threatening, I understand the consequences. What did you mean when you told the police, it doesn't matter if she was threatening, I understand the consequences?
Because again, this just goes back to like the biggest thing with all of this. Like, with everything, regardless of anything. My children don't have a mom anymore. And there's just this incredible personal guilt of, like, even without me understanding what had happened, and now even too, when I do understand what happened, now, like, I could have prevented this situation from happening. I could have been this better partner. I could have been a better leader to where she would not have to even plan this out. Like, she wouldn't have to go to people like Brenda or be coerced into trying to do stuff like this. Like, I should have been this better person to where this situation shouldn't have even happened.
You told the police that you didn't know if you wanted to address whether you regretted shooting Caitlyn, and that it felt like a trap question. Why did it feel like a trap question?
So either response felt like the wrong response. So if I said yes, that I regretted shooting her, then that would mean that, oh, so previously I did want to, but now I don't. Well, that's incorrect. So that felt like a wrong response. But then if I say no, then that means, then I just don't care that she's dead, which is also a wrong response. So it felt like whatever I said was just not the right answer.
Along the same lines, you said, not that it even justifies anything, but she's just my everything. What did you mean by that?
So again, like, I don't mean to just keep rehashing the same thing, but obviously Elwyn's the purpose in my life. I mean, she really is my everything. And just like trying to understand what had happened, just trying to figure out, like, did it matter? Like, how much did that matter? Did it matter that she was hurting Elwyn in front of me? Did it matter that she was holding her hostage? And I'm just, again, I just felt so horrible for it that I'm just trying to, I don't know. I'm trying to do the right thing.
Give me 1 minute, Dustin. Dustin, at this point, I don't have any more questions for you.
Okay.
Your Honor, is this an appropriate time to take our morning break?
I was waiting to see what you would prefer. Okay, all right, members of the jury, we'll take a morning break now. It's before 10:15, so we'll get started at 10:25. We'll resume at 10:25. Again, please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves, and if anyone does, please report that to a bailiff. Thank you. Court will be in recess.